Hi there, this is Art and Such, and today I'm going to show you how to make this basic bracelet. Now, if you are already familiar with the knot that we're going to be using, this is going to be pretty easy. And if this knot is new to you, it might be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm going to break it down for you. And as well, I'll show you an extension of this pattern and give you an idea of what it would look like in a larger scale. So to start, you're going to need 4 strands of embroidery thread or string, and I would suggest using different colors for all. You want your strands to be, for each of your strands to be about the length of your arm, and you're going to double it over and tie it in a knot. You'll see here I've cut shorter pieces, but this is for the demonstration. So to make a full bracelet, you will want about an arm's length of each color. And when you are ready, grab a pin and a cushion or a piece of tape, whatever you're comfortable working with, and you want to secure your bracelet on. Okay, so the first thing to do is to separate your colors out so that you have, let's see if we can zoom in, that might help us here. Oh, better. Okay, so that you have one of each color on either side. I'm using yellow, green, blue, and brown, but any colors you choose are fine. Now, the colors that you're using on the outside the most will get shorter faster than the inner ones, and the innermost strings are not going to show. So I have brown here. It doesn't matter to me so much if you see the brown, so I'm going to keep those in the middle throughout. All right. The first thing you're going to do is decide which color you want to show on the furthest from the middle on the outside. In this case, I'm going to use my yellow because it's bright, it's bold, and these also happen to be the longest threads I've cut here. So I'm going to arrange this so that my yellows are on the outside and everything else is in the middle. I'm going to try to give you a really close look of this knot here before we start. So what you're going to do is we're going to sort of fold the outer threads so that they bow out and point in. And this one will go under and over. This is going to go under and over. So I hold these and I bring this under and across the string on the left. Actually, this is even easier than I explained it because now I have a hole here and my other end goes straight through the hole. So that's the knot. That's what we're going to be doing throughout. And once you have it ready, you can pull tight and bring it to the top, carefully tightening on either side. Now for the second knot, we're going to do the reverse so that this doesn't get too twisted around. So that means this time we start with the left, and we go under and over, and then the right, the tail end of the right will go down through the hole that we made on the left. Okay, once that's done, you can set those on the side. That's your outer border piece there. And then choose the color you want to show up next. So on my demonstration one, it was this darker blue. This time, I think I will also use a blue. So I will separate my blues out from the middle pile, put one on either side. And now I'm going to do the same knot over the middle threads, but using the blue. So we go under, over, back through the hole, pull, ease it up to the top, and then from the left, under, over, take the right end, back down through the hole, and pull through. There's one more step. So now I told you I'm going to keep my browns in the middle, which means my greens are the remaining color. Separate those out to the side, and we're going to do that knot greens over browns. So hold your middle two, take your next color under the middle, over the remaining left piece, and bring that down through the hole. Like I said, if this is a new knot for you, it might take a little bit of practice. It's okay, you can take your time with this. And then left side under that center, over the other one you're knotting with, and push that back down through the hole that you've created. So that is actually the whole pattern. This is, we'll bring this up to the camera instead. This is what it looks like so far. It doesn't look like much, but what we're going to do is bring the yellow over everything in the middle again, and you'll see the pattern start to develop here. So let me hold this down a little bit better, and we'll work a little bit faster now. And you'll see this as it starts to progress. We'll do a couple of these together. So yellows to the outside, other threads in the middle. Oh, and I do have to tell you, this part can be a little bit challenging because you want to have the right tension. If this is really loose or uneven, you might get something like this sticking out. And we want it snug against the sides. So you want it a little tighter than that. But if it's too tight, then what's going to happen is it's going to come up over the other pieces. So what we want to do, this is perhaps the most challenging part, is leave it a little bit loose. A little bit loose. Like so. So it's just touching. See if we can get that a little closer. Just touching, but sitting underneath that middle green. And then the second knot you're going to make tighter. And that will keep it from disappearing, or the inner pieces from disappearing. And if you find it's a little too loose or a little too tight at that point, then you can, of course, tighten it up. So second one is a little bit tighter, and you can adjust it a bit if you need to. Okay, so this is what we want it to look like. And then we repeat our pattern. So I'll stay with you to the end of this, and then I'll show you the extension that you can do. So I had done blue next, and of course you can change up the colors if you want to, but I'm gonna continue with the pattern I started. So blue next, and put the rest of the remaining threads in the middle, and I'm gonna do my little pretzel knot over, nice and tight. Other side over, nice and tight. Blues to the side, and then we're going to use our greens. And green, we'll do the green and the green. And then we'll do the yellows back from the outside again. Now, incidentally, this is the kind of knot that you often see in macrame. Like with plant hangers, this is a very handy knot for that type of a project or a wall hanging. And this is a nice one to use when you want to put beads onto a bracelet or another work. So again, I want to keep this a little bit loose and make sure this yellow is sitting below the other knots that I threaded. And then I do my second one, pull it through. And this could take a little bit of practice and a little bit of adjusting, but you'll get it. Okay, so that's what we have. Now, if you want to take this one step further or alter the pattern a little bit, I'm going to leave a little space, and then we'll knot it down below so I can start this new pattern. So I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to do my yellows on the outside again. time, 2 times. It's trying to flip around on me. Another nice thing with this bracelet is it can flip around a little bit without being a complete write-off. It's usually okay. You can get away with it. Okay, and now I'm going to do my blues again and the greens, and then we'll do something a little bit different. Okay, and my last color. And I'll show you this on closer up in a second. Just get this one to go through here. Okay, so far this is starting out exactly the same. We have our yellows, our blues, our greens, but now I'm going to take my my blues, that middle color, and knot it back over the greens and the browns. So I'm going to reverse what I was doing, kind of. See if I can scroll in a little more for you again. No, it doesn't work so well on this thing. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to just bring my yellows out. I'm going to put everything back in the middle, except for those blues, and we're going to knot. I wish you could see this a little bit better here. We're going to take the blues now and knot them back over those center bands, or center string. Too much rainbow loom on the brain here. Okay, so there's 1 and 2. So what I'm doing is closing this off the way you would like a diamond kind of pattern. Make sure it's sitting below the green. Or like a flower pattern. Okay, so the blue is now underneath again, and now I'm going to do the yellow over everything in the middle. So it is the same as before, except that we closed off the middle strings in a circle. Okay, let's do the yellows again, and then I'll show you. I'll show you what this looks like on a larger bracelet. One more time. Yellow and yellow. Okay, so you can see it, they don't really look terribly different, but here's the original. And here it is when you close the colors up. And this again was the full bracelet with that first pattern I showed you. And this is one I did using 14, well, no, what was it? It was 8 colors doubled over, so 16 strands. And if you close it up after each one, so yellow's knotted, green's knotted, blue's knotted, light yellow, red, brown, light yellow, and then brown, and then backwards, brown, red, green, and you keep bringing it in from further out. So it's kind of neat. Just for kicks, if you want to stay with me a minute longer, I'll show you if you continue doing that basic knot. So one more thing you might find kind of neat. Flip this around. So I told you that when you're doing 2 knots together, the right one will go under, and then the left one would go under. I just want to show you, because this is also kind of neat, and we'll start a new section here. If you always start with the same thread underneath, it starts to spiral. So I'll try to show you what I mean here. So right one under, over, grab it through the hole, pull tight. And again, right one under, over, grab it through the hole, pull tight. And again, keep going with the right one first and only. See, so this time I'm not switching sides or hands. I hope this is making sense to you. So I'm not going under with the left first, I'm always going to go under with the right for this pattern variation that I'm showing you. Give me one more minute and you'll see what happens here. It's actually kind of neat. It reminds me of when you work with plastic lace or boondoggle, you can create the same kind of effect by crossing your strands diagonally to each other. But just bear with me here, I'll see right away. I could also add, this is a nice knot to use to finish up a project if you've done a nice braid and you want to have a clean looking finishing piece. This works quite well as well, and you can do it as I'm doing it with this twist, or you can go right under, left under, right under, left under, and then you'll get a straight looking section. I'll just finish this one and then I'll show you what this does. Okay, so if you only use the same side, it will start to twist around like so, which is kind of neat. And otherwise, you'll get this look and it'll just repeat down, down, down. But yeah, so thanks for watching. I hope you'll check out some of my other videos and let me know what you'd like to see. And take care, guys. Okay.